Tonight on Political Archive, with Kenya in political instability, tonight we look into the politics of the 60s, the assassination of Mboya, Minister for Development and Planning. This is why the government killed Mboya.
I believe in Africa for the Africans in the context that there is a place called Africa, and that the people who live in that place must want to call that.
Articulate, brilliantly logical, and a master political tactician, Mboya was the only remaining threat to KANU's leadership. Kenyatta was aging and his health was subsequently deteriorating. However, Mboya was the likely candidate to replace Kenyatta, but he was strongly opposed by young Kikuyu elites, close allies of Kenyatta from his home Kiambu district, who had plans of succession to keep the presidency in the event Kenyatta died. His affairs with the West fueled fear and unease about him in Kenya. Mboya had massively campaigned to popularize KANU, and he will be nominated as among the first ministers when Kenya gained independence. Kenyatta and Mboya's relationship was an alliance of convenience. Kenyatta needed Mboya's political brains and ability, while Mboya, Aluo, needed Kenyatta's prestige and the support of the Kikuyu tribe. However, Mboya's growing popularity brought discomfort among Kenyatta allies. A secret plot to assassinate him was thereby hatched by a member of the cabal 6 months earlier. At the time, Mau Mau's secret oath was still much alive, and a named member of the cabal hired 3 hitmen who were KANU youth representatives, all with paramilitary training from Bulgaria. Nahashon Ngugi, a representative of Kiambu district, Gitonga Gadhanjo from Nyeri, and Dwiga from Embu district. Ndwiga Gadhamba was given orders to purchase 3 pistols from the black market, which were used to mislead the ballistic test, and later smuggled in the country from Somalia. On July 5th of 1969, East Africa Standard had carried a photograph of Mboya at Embakasi Airport previous day. Mboya had flown from Addis Ababa for a government meeting. In the material day, Mboya had called Chinese pharmacy to order a prescription that he would pick later in the afternoon. According to intelligence, his office landline might have been tapped, and at the time, it was only the Special Branch and Intelligence Unit in Kenya that had the technology to tap phone communications. In the afternoon, Mboya relieved his police driver and drove his white Mercedes-Benz registration number KMA 627 from the Treasury building where his office was situated. He would make a stop at Chinese chemist to purchase a cream for dry skin. When he got out, it was exactly 1:15 p.m. and what followed was gunshots. Ndwiga says he pulled back and boarded a public service vehicle to Embu, inciting that he didn't want to betray his long-term friend. Upon reaching his home, news about Mboya's assassination were everywhere. That fateful afternoon, chaos ensued in the country's capital. Tribal clashes between Luo and Kikuyu erupted. Kenyatta was solely blamed for the death of the minister.
On all that has occurred, to understand all the cold and pitiless motives and expectation of forces that have been at work, I call on all Kenyans to stand together in defense of our nationalism and all that we fought for and have built with our faith and our sweat. For without such understanding and resolve, our people may suffer simply through being manipulated like puppets on a string.
Vice President Daniel Moi described the assassination of Mboya as a political execution which was a wider plan aimed at destabilizing the young government. President Kenyatta will call an emergency cabinet meeting to his home in Gatundu to discuss the instability that had followed the death of Mboya. He would also order flags to fly half-mast in honor of Mboya for 1 week. 8th July, the body of Mboya was laid at the parliament buildings. People queued outside the National Assembly to offer their respect to Mr. Mboya's widow. Thousands of police officers were tasked with providing security to prevent further tensions between the Kikuyu and Luo. On 9th Wednesday, the body of Mboya was driven to Rusinga Island, his birthplace. His burial was a mixture of Christian and traditional ceremonies. 2,000 people from all parts of the country traveled to the island, except Kenyatta, who was blamed for his assassination. By July 10th, the police had found and were testing unlicensed 38 revolver, and on 21st July, the police announced that the man who shot Mboya was Nahashon Ngugi. Interestingly, to identify Nahashon Ngugi as the shooter in a police lineup, which begs the question, did Njenga really shoot Mboya, or it was just to cover up for the big man? Exactly what Njenga asked when he was arrested. September 10th, Njenga is sentenced to death and on November 8th, hanged secretly, according to a source that spoke to the Standard. But in 1970, West Mugirango MP Judge Justice Morara, while in Lusaka, Zambia, claimed that he saw Njenga in an entertainment joint. Morara gave 48 hours for the government to produce Njenga, but surprisingly, Morara turned dead 2 days after in a grisly road accident.